Hi there, this is Dave Bennett from MOWG-crew.com. It is June 1st, 2013. Beginning of summer's basically here. Feels pretty good. Anyway, okay, I want to put this out. It's an update of the MOWG Toolbar. Okay, it's version 17.7 now. And so here's where you can just get it. I did wrap it into the 2 MOWG HB, but I did not attach the additional features because it's still sort of in developer mode. It works fine. But there's so many different ways to use it that there's not a one way to use it that everybody will want. Use it your own way. It's kind of the thing. So if you're savvy enough, especially from our focal group training, to be able to play with this, let me show you what it does. And I'm sure people come out with ideas for how to automate this later, and there are just going to be a lot of them. So anyway, here we go. Let's go get it, first of all, right? So let me just go to, say, Internet Explorer, and let me just get this thing. Here's the link, like I was just showing you. Kind of what you think, MOWG-crew.com/, and then it's MOWG-17_7.zip, okay? And I'm going to have this link on this update video, so you shouldn't have any trouble being able to reproduce this. Remember, caps matter. If it's capitalized, you got to capitalize it. If it's a dash, you got to use a dash. Underscore, use an underscore. All right, here we go. I'm going to go there. I'm going to download it. That's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to save it on my desktop. Save as, desktop. That's where I'm going to put it right now. MOWG TV 17_7.zip. Okay. Just going to do that. And it won't take any time to download. It's not big. All right, there it is. So what's the first thing you do? First thing, right-click, hit Properties. If you see an unblock button, go ahead and unblock it. That's a good idea because it's got powerful software in there, VBS file, and then okay. Now that that's done, I can right-click and WinZip extract to here, okay, and that gives me the output folder, which is now right here. The output folder, MOWG TV 17.7, right? Then what does that mean? That's my new MOWG Toolbar. It still says MOWG Toolbar 17, but we have to put it in the right place. So let's go do that. We're going to stick this computer, going to stick in the C drive. In my case, program files x86, could be program files for you. The default is program files x86. And then down here, MOWG Toolbar V17 folder. And in there, it's got the MOWG Toolbar 17, and then I've got older ones from earlier days that you don't need to think about. There's also a source workbook in there. Leave the source workbook in there. But take and copy, for instance, your new one, or move it, whatever, paste it. And when it says to overwrite, say yes, definitely, because that's the old version. We're going to use the new one now. Okay. Now, one other thing you might do is take this rotate column.vbs, and you might take a copy and put it in here too, because you're going to want it somewhere anyway, and that's just a good place to keep it, right, for safekeeping. Matter of fact, I can even get rid of these and that, because these are older versions of things I really don't need anymore. All right, that would be the idea. So yours should look a lot more like this. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to move on. Now that we've done that, let's open Excel. If all is done correctly, then when you go to the MOWG Toolbar 17, it already has the new one now because it's got the same name, MOWG Toolbar V17. So if you hit About, by now it should be the 17.7 it's using. Now that's just awesome. That means it's built for the new functionality. This is the first time that we do not have a button in here that has changed any. You don't see anything new in here that relates to the 17.7. It looks identical to the 17.6. Okay, so this is why you hit About, just to make sure you've got the right functionality. Okay, 17.7. All right. Now, here's what we did. Even though it's got all the same buttons, it's built to also have something hidden, all right, which is the controlling logic for the thing we're going to do now. Okay, which is that other piece, right? And I just gave it a new name here. By that, I'll show you in a minute what I mean. Actually, let me just open this and show you. Okay, see this rotate-column.vbs? That is a new VBS, new Visual Basic script that we have now. It's a new function, and you can give it whatever name you want. Who cares what you name it? Rotate column or cycle, and that's what I did. I took a copy, stuck it here. I just called it cycle. All right. So you are going to be able to use this. I'll show you in a minute. All right, so here's the concept. What does it do? Like I say, it's a really cool developer tool, and as you start to use it, it'll really open the doors for you. You know how we always say with the 2MO GHB automation, you can't run the same top 10 keywords in the menu column twice. Things like that, right? So what might be the case? You might open this thing, okay? And I'm just going to use keywords that are numbered so that we can know what they are and not just be confused over them. Because, it's kind of hard to follow what's happening with a bunch of keywords that are entirely different words. So I numbered them so you can see the order they are in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc., right? I went all the way down to 50, okay? So that's 50. All right, now if I look over here, I see old stuff from my menu, right? Menu root, and then it's got all this old stuff in it from some of the run. So the first thing we have to do is run the menu generator anyway, and then I'll tell you what the new piece does. Now, okay, so what I'm going to do is explain how this thing works, the cycle command. But first, let me go ahead and run that menu generator. As a matter of fact, I probably just have one right here I can use anyway. System, menu generator, copy. I'm just going to take one and remind you that yes, you can make copies and adjust them. So you can add it. And I got this in really big print so you can see it, right? I'm going to use the relative path instead of a full path because it'll be right here in the same folder. And I'm going to say the 10th, or we're going to get 10 menu item results, okay, coming off of the 7th column in, which you guys should know how this works, right? We've talked about this in the video that explains how this works. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's going to use this var 1006 column to populate the menu column, right? And then populate all these, right? Which we needed to do, all right? That's because I'm using the 7th column in, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Why don't I use 4 and it's using var 1003? That way I can just make sure that we're using something we can see. So I'm going to take this thing and say 4. Change it to that. I still want 10 results. I know I want 10 results, okay? So I'm going to leave that the way it is. All right, fine. I'm going to save it. Now I'm just going to run it literally right here. Boom. And it runs. Oh, client data geo.csv could not be found. Maybe I have to use the full path after all. I keep forgetting whether you need to or not. Okay. Properties, security, object name. I got it now. So add it, and I will use it. Path variable. Here it is. Boom. Boom. Okay. Now do it. Okay, it's done. You don't see it happen really, but it's done. All right, so now I got that. If I scroll over, everything's been updated. Got my menu, got my root. And then here we go, key 1 through 50, right? And it stops there because there's nothing left. And then it split them up. Key 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Therefore, it continues 11, 12, 13, until it gets to 50, right? That's how it works, and we all know this, okay? All right, so far, this is nothing new. I'm just kind of like setting the stage here for what we're going to do next. Now, here's the thing. What we often say is after you do a run, if you want to do a new run, make sure to cut the top 10 of these out. Cut it out, come to the bottom, paste it in, and then scroll up and delete these top 10. Delete, shift cells up. Boom. Okay? And there we go. And we can save it, right? And so there, finally, now we can do a new run. What's the thing that makes this a pain? That we have to do it every time manually, that's one. And if we have several projects, we have to do it all the time on all the projects. And then the second thing is we can think of a lot of reasons. We make duplicates of these, right? We make a domain 1, domain 2, domain 3, domain 4 versions of these of the same var sheet so we can do different runs. Wouldn't it be nice to do all kinds of things? Wouldn't it be nice if you could just say, I want to take one of these from var 1003, before a run or after a run on any one of these files, and I want to just stick it on the bottom and then shift this thing up one, right? Because you can't have the space, right? Then I want to take like 2 of these, cut it. I want to put it on the bottom. and then get rid of these. And then maybe I want to do 3 of these, right? Cut it. And you see how long this takes to do manually. It's a real pain in a way, right? This is why we don't really talk about it. It's sort of a pain, okay? But we'd like it. It would create more variability, especially if our domain-1.csv doesn't make any changes. Then our domain-2.csv makes certain changes. Domain-3 makes other changes. In other words, we can create crazy cool variability. What else could we cycle? All kinds of things. We could have these cycle automatically, top 10 or whatever. And we could even cycle like one of these, one of these, one of these, one of these, or whatever between runs. We could say this, take the top one, move it down, and move everything up. Take the top one, move it down, move everything up. Or again, move 1 down, then move 2 down, then move 3 down. And on a different file, maybe the opposite. Move 1 down, move 2 down, move 3 down. And if you think about cascading styles, how would you do it? The first one, your domain-1 may do nothing. This may be, it's our relative basis. But domain-2, the second copy, could move 1 down, then 2, then 3. But then domain-2 could start here, and it could move 1 down, and then 2, and then 3. See how it's creating variability across these things? Now, is that really so important to do? No, I don't think so. I really don't see a lot of value in that. But can people test and play with it? Yeah. So how do you make it happen? How do you automatically change all these fields, however it is you want them to change, without having to do it manually? I'll show you. That's the point of the 17.7. It allows you to create all the variations you want in this whole thing. Okay, let me start again. Let me take this copy that I had from before, paste, overwrite, just because I want to start in one place. Okay, so if I open it, again, I got my key 1 all the way down to 50, and if I look all the way at the end, yep, I need to run the menu generator. So let me do that first, make sure that worked. Okay. Yeah, key 1 down, and then, yep, everything there is fine. I'm done. I know that. All right, now let's say the first thing I want to do, the most obvious thing, the thing that we all care about the most, is moving the top 10 of these keywords to the bottom and moving it up. How do we do it? I'll show you. The name of this column is this triple open caret deal, menu, right? Menu in caps. That's the name of the column, right? That's how it looks. That's the name. That's what I need to know to use. And when it moves them down, it will ignore the word root because it knows it needs to keep that there. So we'll skip it and just keep right on going and deal with the next number, whatever number I want. Okay, so let me show you how it works. This is called cycle.vbs in this case. It's the name I gave it. I just called it cycle, right? Just for the fun of it. Now, if I edit it, here's the thing that'll drive you a little bit berserk. It's still in developer mode, so it's not really cleaned up so well. It looks very much like it's like the MOWG Auto Run VBS because it was built from that model outward, right? Since they were so similar, just different purposes. So path 1 variable is the name of the file we want to deal with. Normally the full path, C: something. Okay. Path variable 2 is the column you want to deal with. Well, watch. Menu. Path variable 3 is the number of items to move down to the bottom. Well, we want 10, right? On the menu, typically we want 10. That's just kind of the way we build this stuff, right? Okay. How do you know that you're on the right one? It looks like the MOWG Auto Run VBS, so you go, well, how in the world do you tell them apart? It says sleep time variable. Here's the answer. If you look down here, you can tell what it's doing. MOWG Toolbar 17, and what's the name of it? Recycling keyword macro. And that's the actual default name that was given to this in the first place. Recycling keyword macro. So just keep in mind, when you see this, you know which one it is, okay? Again, it's still in developer mode, so you're going to just have to deal with this for the time being until we get it updated. All right, that's it. So it is really simple. Which CSV file are we going to adjust? What is the column header name, right? Whether it's var 1003 or menu. and how many items do we want to move down. Okay, that's pretty simple. Go to this file, go to that column, move the top 10 to the bottom. Every time I hit it, it'll do that. So when I hit it once, and same thing again. It needs the full path. So let me give it the full path. That's good. It just makes sure you guys keep learning to use the full path anyway. So let me do it. Okay. Edit. Here we go. Heck, it reminds me because I keep forgetting. Coding, man, will get you hypnotized. All right, let me run it. Boom. There, it's done. Let me show you what it did. We open it. These are untouched because, this is var 1003, 1004. That's not the one we touched, the column. But this is the column we did touch. And if you look now, the top key on here is key 11. We got 11 through, 20, 21, all the way down to 50. And guess what? The original 10 are now at the bottom. And yeah, everything was moved up. So ain't that cool? Everything was moved up. What if I hit it again? Do it again. Now, open it up. Now we're on key 21, and everything's at the bottom. This is 1 through 10, 11 through 20, okay? And then I can do it again. And you get the point. I've got 5 good runs out of this before I'm back to where I started again. 30, and it starts at 31 now, right? And if you just keep hitting it like 1, it'll start at 40. 2, it'll start at what? I think it's back already. Let me just go see. I think it's back. Yeah, it is. It's got to be. Can't start at 50. It was like 41 through 50, right? And then the next step again was 1 through 10. So it's back to where it started, okay? So I got 5 good runs out of that without having to manually deal with all that. Now, what can I do? I can give it better names like rename cycle dash 10, like cycle 10 in menu, right? Menu. Okay, and that way I know what it's for. It's to cycle 10 in the menu column. Okay, now I know that. So let me introduce a little bit more power again so you can see kind of what we can do, because I could take this and I could copy it and I could paste it. And I could say something like this: cycle 1 var, yeah, let me do it this way, right? var 1003. Okay, and I'm going to cycle just 1 in var 1003. It's going to be in the same file, but this is now going to be var 1003, and I'm going to just cycle 1. Okay, so let me just run that. Whap, done, open. There, it did it. It just took the top one, which was key 1, stuck it on the bottom. Now var 1003 is key 1, whereas at the top it's starting with key 2. Increases variability, right? Well, what if I wanted to move 2 down for var 1004? Now you're getting it, because it's the idea. Copy. I mean, it might be a pain to build all this up the first time around the way you want it, rename. But think about what happens when you get your format the way you want, and you can duplicate this for any, any particular file you want to use ever. Okay. Edit. And I'll just adjust it for, once you get your stack done the way you want, you can use them any way you want. Oops. Okay. So now let me do that. Boom. Okay. Sure enough, this one starts with key 2, 3, 4, while this one starts with key 3, 4, 5. So all of these are off from each other now. Okay. Anyway, so the one at the bottom is key 1. The next one is key 1 and 2. How far could I keep going? Well, let me just kind of show you where this comes into play. Let me take this thing called more power and just stick it here. And while I'm at it, let me just do a new copy of the original CSV file just to start from the beginning again and show you kind of from the beginning. Remember what the beginning is? Everything's key 1, and over here was the old menu generator stuff from some other run done a long time ago. Okay, you get that idea, right? So that's that. Now what? I'm going to get rid of these because I don't need them. Delete. And the menu generator for that matter. Delete. Because guess what else I have? I've got a system folder. Copy. Which I'm going to put here. Paste. And I didn't need to copy it. I could have cut it. I'm not trying to confuse. Okay, all I'm doing is putting stuff in place that I set up so I don't have to hand type these out. And sure enough, cycle vars 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, and cycle the menu, as well as the menu generator, is all in here in the system folder. That's those things I created. Okay, and what else? More power. What it was before, what it is like now. Dang. Hold on real quick. Okay. And see, even some other stuff that's very cool. So let me just start with this. What was it like before? Let me just cut it and put it in the place I want it. Paste. Now, if I edit it to see it, all it's going to do is run the menu generator, right? So that's what it was like before. It just ran the menu generator, which is in the system folder. And that one's saying to just update the menu column, right? That would just take and update this thing, right? Okay, I'm not even going to run it because it's like really obvious to you what that does. Delete. Now I'm going to show you what it does now. Cut, come out, paste, boom. And if I run it now, what's it going to do? Runs the menu generator, followed by these other ones here, 1003 through 1006. Let me show you. Wow. Okay, it's done with that. So if I open this thing, I got the first one. It moved the first 5 down because I told it to. I said move 5 down. In the next column, I said move 6 down. The next column, I said move 7 down. Next column, I said move 8. And then I didn't say anything for these two, right? I just did those 4. You get the point anyway. And way over here, what do you see? This is all updated the way we wanted, right? Now, more power yet. Cycle the menu. Okay, all it does is run a cycle menu VBS, which is going to do the top 10. So I'm going to put that in here and run that. And so when I run that, okay, it gets the next 10, which means, see, 11 from 11 onwards, where the top 10 are at the bottom now. So when would you run that? You'd run that at the very end, right? This is like the last thing you run. That's after it runs and does all of its job and it created the 10 folders, the top 10 folders. Then when it's completely done, just before it ends, you want to insert the command necessary, like put this at the bottom of your one run.bat. Okay? That way, this happens last, and that prepares the file for your next run by automatically moving the top 10 down for you. Okay? That way, if you have it in your one run.bat, one-run.bat file, okay, then every time it runs, it moves those top 10 down. Okay? And then the next time it runs, it moves the next top 10 down. So if you had like 100 keywords in there, then you've got 10 automated runs to do off that one-run.bat, where it's just going to be different every time. You don't have to touch those. Okay? So that much is cool. What else did I have? Just so you understand the concept now, think about this, because this is wild. And I'm just going to kind of close with this because it's almost too much to show here when it's just so much easier to run things on it. We can create copies of our CSV file, like 10 of them, right? Okay, domain 1 through domain 10. Okay, and even if I open any one of them, like domain 8, what's it doing? It's doing the copies wherever I left off. So the top 5 were moved down, the top 6 were moved down, right? Top 7 moved down. What else have I got? It's already starting on key 11, right? Because that's when I had to do the copies. Well, again, I normally I'd have it do the copies early on. First, I'd run the menu generator, okay, just normally, and then I would run the whole thing to create all these copies and work from it. And then at the bottom, after everything was done, I'd cycle this menu. But what could I do in the meantime? I could take these 10 and I could change all of the var3s, var4s, var5s, var6s, var7s, and var8s for each of these things if I wanted to. Okay? So that I move those all down. Okay, delete CSV just deletes those, really. That's all. It's just showing you how fast it is to create them and delete them. But the reality check is, put it forward in the right order and think about what you can do. You can create all 10 and you can have the first one. You could even run the menu separately between them if you really wanted, which is kind of crazy. But you could absolutely have the first one use, take the top or just start like normal, okay, with key 1. And then the second one, you could actually have it start with key 2 because you move the top one down from each of these, right? And then the next one, on and on and on. Since these have stable names, I can create stable copies of my cycles. I can cycle domain 1 vars, cycle domain 2 vars, cycle domain 3. Yes, I'm creating copies of these and updating them each, but once you have it built, it's a power player, right? And the reason I want to point that out, the thing that's obvious about that, I don't know what that was. The thing that's obvious about that, oh, that was from earlier. The thing that's obvious about that, whether you're in the TwoMoG HB or the TwoMoG ARD or the TwoMoG Cube, whatever it is that you're in, okay, you recognize the 1-run.bat. And in here, in the 1-run.bat, we create copies of our domains. We got domain 1-1 through domain 1-10, right? I'll just show you real fast what I did if I can find this because I forget where I put it immediately. I was just kind of playing with it to get it right. Might be in here. Yeah. I have it cycling the geo targets on each of those files. Edit. Yeah, I have it. I'm having it go to the domain-1-2.csv, for instance, in order to find var 1010 and move the top 10 down. Okay. Well, that's 1, 2, 10, 10, top 10, right? What is this one? Edit. This goes to 1, 3, 10, 10, and move the top 20 down. Oh, isn't that neat? This goes to domain 1, 4, 10, 10, and move the top 30 down. So each one of these is moving its own CSV. It's going to the same column, but that way for all these copied CSV files for all the runs, the 1, I don't know what I've got in here. I don't remember. The one run would start with Akron, Ohio, and go down from there if I'm doing like the top 100 most populated cities. But then the 1-2 starts with the next 10 down now because it's var 1010, right? Var 1010. And we move the top 10 down. So these top 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's our Akron, Ohio here, and the next ones that came after it. Get it? So when this thing runs, it's already going to start with a different geo-targeted point of view. Okay? So for any cases where we have some kind of duplication in the method, just depending on computers, sometimes I'm hearing of guys' computers are sort of spitting out some of the same page structures, or because of the way that they happen to use the brackets on some of these headers, sometimes it's starting off too uniformly. Well, that's cool because even past the brackets now is the notion that we have copied CSV files all using brackets, but the brackets are starting with a different list. In each case, the bracket, if you bracketed this one, it's still going to start with this guy going down. By the way, I haven't thought about the brackets yet, so I don't know, but I still believe you would need to put brackets around this thing. I think it would have to do it this way, right? If you had the brackets in the headers, just to keep it in mind. But you're going to test, right? You can just easily set up a test really fast and see how it acts, okay? That way you create the variability you need. I'm moving 50 down the next time. That's how I got 10, then 10 more, then 10 more, then 10 more. I did 10, then 20, then 30, then 40, then 50, right? So 1-1, I moved nothing down. 1-2, I moved 10. 1-3, I moved 20. 4, I moved 30. 5, I moved 40. And 6, I moved 50. Get it? All right, and you can do that for anything. After I have it run, what else did I do? I've got cycle-geo, and then I have cycle-key. I forget what I did with that. Okay, var 1003. I said move a certain number down. So 1-1, then 1-2, moved 1. 1-3, moved 2. 1-4, moved 3. See? And that just moved one keyword down each time. And I'm sure I can see it. I think if I move this, it'll be on keyword 3 now, where the one before it was on keyword 2, and the one before that was on keyword 1, right? And so on and so forth. You get the idea? So yeah, you can have all of these run just by adding the commands where they fit on the run file, okay? So just think about where they would have to go, okay? And when you do, then you can put them in there. And I've got mine in here, right? I have it create all of the CSV files, create all the unique CSV files, and then copy the images, copy the output, copy the sleeps, and then move the PFLs to the MOWG Autorun folder where it belongs. And don't worry about the stuff that's commented out, that's unimportant. But once it's done with all that, then it runs what I tell it to. The GO 2, 3, 4, 5 through 10, then the key through 10. Then it does all the runs, and when everything is said and done, what's it going to do? Well, guess what? Somewhere in here, probably in the finish zip stop app. Let me just see. Edit. It's got to be in here. Yeah, last step. Basically, the last step. Okay. Replacement stuff, VBS. Okay, that's just like a final wrap-up step that's to get rid of an extra stray space, to kill the stray space. And that's necessary for the coding. But the step right before that, I said cycle the menu, the top 10. So it's the very last thing, and I created it here in this finish zips. And it just says cycle step 2. It doesn't say system slash, because this thing, this cycle step 2, is where the finish zips is. The finish zips is here. Well, so's the other thing. Cycle step 2 is in here too, wherever it is. There it is. So it's not inside another folder. Okay, it's in the same folder. So it's going to get run because this is the same folder. Okay, that's just the name of that file. And it'll move the top 10 down in the menu. Okay, the top 10 what, you might be asking? Well, look and see. The top 10 from the original file, the basic HB, HBGO, that one, the one I started with in the first place when I did the 1-run, right? I started with that one anyway. Now, if I do it again and run it from step 2 and produce this, if it's different, then that's okay, because I'm starting with one run. So it starts at the beginning assuming that you're doing a new run. So it doesn't need to move the top 10 down because you're doing a new run. But if you want to keep using the same run 10 times, then you can do that. Okay? Because every time it runs, it's going to run that finish zips file. And the last thing the finish zips file will do, the way I have it now, is update those top 10. Move them down in the menu column. All right, I think you get the idea, and I think you get the possible combinations of this and how you can multiply these folders. You can have HB-GO-client and do all these different things with each guy. And these aren't like my clients as much as tester files or beginning files for this particular thing. I've just got a bunch of client files all over the place. That's why I have these things, just so many copies, because I have so much going on. But there you go, developer tools. You can go hog wild with it to create more variability than you could ever create before, and it's going to feel cool that way. All right, guys, thanks a lot for listening, and I hope you enjoy it. Take care.